Somehow my calendar is all the way full, and not because I'm gainfully employed. Every nowhere, part-time, minimum wage, seasonal job I get lights the fire under me to find a way out, and the only way I know how to do that is to attempt to work so hard at my desired career that it eventually pays me. I need a day to play hooky. It started in high school. I realized that I could simply sign myself out at the office and skip the call home. I mostly went to school. I always wrote the tests I needed to and did my coursework, but man, is conventional education good at wasting your time. When it was all too much, and the desire to close my eyes and never open them again crept in, I would bail from my rural high school next to the Trans-Canada Highway and engage my 15-year-old green Toyota Camry, sans driver side mirror, in the 95-kilometer expedition to Canmore. This began a personal tradition that endures presently, of impulsively hopping in the car and heading west, for a breakfast lox on jalapeno cheddar from Rocky Mountain Bagel, that I eat on whichever of the two primo river benches is available. Upon finishing the aforementioned overpriced bagel, I embark on a walk by the Bow River and absorb some of the most magnificent views available on Earth. I have really come to appreciate the significant power of the Rocky Mountains and the tremendous blessing it has been to be born at their feet. Under the Three Sisters is where I've been able to work things out and tap into some of life's greater lessons. This is the place where I would listen to Rainer Maria Rilke's Letters to a Young Poet in one shot and be forever changed by it. I remember the first day of kindergarten, getting dropped off by my mom and immediately feeling like an alien. Smelly bellies were a thing if anyone remembers those. Within about 20 minutes of afternoon kindergarten, I was over it. Other kids weren't my thing. I was used to driving around with my mom, who talked to me like an adult and answered all my questions in a way that allowed me to conceptually understand their intricacies. Alternately, when my parents were at work, my grandmother mostly left me to my own devices to play with my cousin's expansive collection of Lego and Playmobil, and watch Family Channel on whichever of the glorious satellite-enabled time zones offered the appropriate dosage of recess and the weekenders. By the time my cousin, 6 years my senior, would get home from school, my education in what was cool would begin. Sparing the extensive self-indulgence of dissecting why I became who I did, I have always felt like the rest of the world has moved around me at a pace that I have never kept up with, and have rendered it okay, medicinal even, to disregard any and all obligations to head west for the day. There is something so stupid about it to me. My dad moved to Calgary to be near the mountains, and yet 1.4 million people hug the concrete while being less than an hour from the part of the earth that touches heaven. Every time the voice in my head tells me why it is indeed a bad idea to blow everything off to drink a coffee and walk by the turquoise river, another reminds me of the volume of people who travel across oceans to see my hiding place. In a podcast, Kelly Oxford, author, director, and fellow OCD-diagnosed dropout of Mount Royal University, answered the question of the last lie she told, having been that morning when she told her son that it was important that he would go to school. I believe there is a tremendous value in playing hooky, in waking up and deciding that you will actually live for a change. Go to your favorite place, get your favorite food, eat it somewhere beautiful. What's the harm? We have been engineered by the wheels of human capital to believe that it is irresponsible, that we are greedy or lazy. But if you discovered an alien race who occupied themselves with menial tasks and weak justifications rather than enjoying the radical intergalactic surf crashing next to them, wouldn't you be confused? It is so absurd, the fact that you even exist at all, that your parents met, that you were the tadpole that punctured the egg. Isn't it worth enjoying? I'm not advocating for everyone to blow off their responsibilities here. You should absolutely pick up your girlfriend at the airport if you said that you would. Scoop the cat litter, feed the dog, maintain your commitments to your friends. But when it feels like the plaster walls are closing in around you, go see the trees and the oceans and the plates that have crashed together under the earth in such a magnificent fashion that they jut out as if to prove chaos theory. Observe yourself in the universe at a realistic scale. When standing next to a 3,000-foot slab of stone, it is pretty difficult to justify the worries of your urban life. Deadlines, accounting, credits, and debts all appear false, imaginary, because they are. Though these ideas can serve as the basis for an unhealthy and ultimately destructive form of nihilism, isn't it worth doing something today that makes you smile? Isn't it worth sneaking away to think, to enjoy stillness, to recharge? So that when your student tells you about their Christmas, you truly listen and you truly smile? Or so that when a friend has a problem, your own struggles don't block your ability to offer true support? Wouldn't we all be a little bit better if we allowed ourselves to play hooky once in a while? Though I'm not even certain that the quote is properly attributed, I believe it is a conservative estimate that about 25% of my grad class chose to be immortalized with the quote, "Life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop to look around once in a while, you might miss it." I'm pretty sure one of those people works at the bank where I deposit the loose change I make busking at markets. It seems obvious that we should prioritize the things that make memories, the things that make us feel good, without impairing the ability of anyone else's freedom to do the same. So obvious that Ferris Bueller's Day Off, a film about playing hooky, is a ubiquitous symbol in pop culture. So if we all got the message, why do so few act upon it? Maybe it doesn't work if everyone breaks the system. Maybe the supply of the rewards of seeing through it are only sufficient for the current demand of troublemakers. I'm not sure. I do know that the fear instilled in us to ignore our basic instincts and desires is highly beneficial to those who have a different systemic exploit. Imagine how many wonderful ideas can't risk the mortgage, how many beautiful murals are painted over in accordance with bylaws, how many street dancers get shut down, how many mountains are milled for limestone. We love the nature so much that we pay to see it. The park pass, the Banff Springs, the flights, the tours, and yet we spend the majority of our lives in the flatlands, living on the nice idea that we can use that mountain bike every weekend, that a compact crossover is the secret to finally getting the kayak off the wall. By the time the job that pays for the Subaru that will unlock our adventurous dreams is over, so is everyone else's, and so we elect not to sit in weekend traffic on the one, and compromise with the city natural environment area, and walk on concrete paths with strategically placed trees. In a flash, the weekend is gone. Life moves pretty fast, and if you don't stop to look around once in a while, you might miss it. I hear the criticisms. That only works in movies, and that's not real life. I think there's a fundamental point that most of us missed with the aforementioned film. And that point is that in doing what we aren't supposed to, that we have stories and realization and reflection. In conclusion, I implore you to ask yourself on a morning that going to work feels like it may cause you actual death, what's the worst thing that happens if I call in sick? If the realistic ramifications will cause legitimate harm to you, your family, or others, then the decision seems clear. But if the arguments against are in the realm of, well, my boss might get mad, or, but it just isn't what I do, then test that hypothesis. Life does indeed move at an inconceivable pace. And this year will move as, if not more quickly than last. So act like it.